The college football experience, Tulsa Golden Hurricane 2024 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your first time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. They just introduced college football best ball. Oh yeah, get on over there. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football picks and projections. College football and NFL picks and projections are all now live. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome. Welcome to the college football experience. Tulsa Golden Hurricane 2024 season preview episode. We are here, youtube.com/the college experience, as we break down all of them. Yes, all 134 college football teams in the land right here on this very show here. In this episode here, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane concludes. After this episode, we'll be done with the American Athletic Conference as we move along to the Sun Belt with just about, a couple weeks before the season kicks. Once again, excited to talk Tulsa Golden Hurricane football. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swing at Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Steve Largent, Gus Farrat, Chris Penn, not the one you were called.
That's another story for another day.
There's been some great players that have came through. H.A. Chapman Stadium, love, one of my favorite, most underrated stadiums in college football. I would say H.A. Chapman's up there. Shout out to Robert Martin, giving us $20. Grab me some coffee, guys, on me. Thank you. Robert, you said I'm just gonna give it to you, Robert, because I'll walk you through what it's a long story, but just send it to this address, essentially. I just sent you something in are we freezing here? No. Yeah, send it to that, Robert, because I know you found me on Facebook. I've had a hard time logging into Facebook. I don't know what happened. They upped their security, and I can't remember my fucking password. I'm not good at the password game.
I feel like Twitter blocked you out from being found for a little bit. Did you you offended Elon somehow?
That might have been pre-Elon.
Either way,
I don't like how
you were a mystery man there for a minute.
How'd that happen again? I think it's the same way Tim Brando blocked me. You know what I mean? I didn't even do anything. Innocent bystanders. I said nothing personal about Tim Brando.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you.
Well, no, he was called. No. He was calling UCF strength of schedule when they were undefeated. or the fact that they were undefeated. He was like saying no, and I go, that's bullshit. They won 25 straight games.
Yeah.
And
well, Tim Brando was the guy who, at the announcement of the initial college football playoff, when there was this big, obvious debate about whether Ohio State or TCU should get in, he said, yeah, we should reward the big brand names just based on the fact of their name. It's like he had a change of heart. I'll give Tim Brando credit.
I like Tim Brando. That's what I'm saying. Like, I really like his opinion the past couple of years on social media. I just don't understand why he blocked me, because I said this is bullshit. I didn't say he was bullshit. I said the argument against 25 straight wins.
Some people have a hard time being wrong.
What else are you supposed to do when you go undefeated 2 seasons in a row? I mean, I would even say 1 season. And it's the only sport in the world where you wouldn't get in. You wouldn't get a fair shot at trying. So you should all get a fair shot. There's a reason why we love March Madness. There's a reason why we make movies like fucking Miracle with Kurt Russell, because you beat the Russian hockey team, right? Yeah. Because sports are meant to be settled on the field. Part of great stories are when a team of lesser caliber athlete beats better caliber athlete. Yeah. All right.
Every movie that's ever made is a Cinderella story.
It's kind of the story of everything. Rocky. I mean, do we need to go? They made a movie called The Replacements. What was that about? It was about the 1987 Washington Redskins scab team. They couldn't call it Redskins because they didn't have the NFL to co-sign, but their scab team, beat the starters of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, they picked up Ed Rupert and Anthony Allen. All right, and they beat Danny White and Tom Landry. Anyway, my point is I don't understand why the block happened, but you know what? I enjoy it because it gave us content. Patty C, let's talk about the listeners are like, what? This supposed to be about Tulsa? What the fuck's this guy talking about? Tulsa time. All right. I love Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right. If you're going to go, and that Tulsa King show's been fired, but obviously the Outsider's House. I go to the Outsider's House. Shout out to Danny Boy. If you're in Tulsa, go there. And also, oh man, I'm drawing a blank on that fire ass hotel I stayed at. I don't know. It's in Tulsa King. It's actually where Stallone stays. I was there first, but I don't remember the name. The Mayo. Go stay at the Mayo if you go to Tulsa. All right. But I love Tulsa and I like Golden Hurricane football, Patty C. And I'm kind of bullish on the future as long as Kevin Wilson's the guy coaching this team. Where are you at with this program, Patty C?
Well, I mean, they've kind of been under the radar, but obviously it was as recent as 2021 when they probably, potentially could have won the conference championship if Cincinnati hadn't ducked out on them. But other than that, it's been a little bit of a tough road to hoe. Or I guess that was 2020 rather.
That's when I was out on Fickle, by the way.
You were out on Fickle. Oh yeah.
After that.
Yeah, that was a pussy move. Look, I'm a big Cincinnati fan, but there's no two ways about it. You had the opportunity to play him. You used COVID as an excuse, so you didn't have to play him on the road, which would have potentially put the conference championship game in Tulsa had Cincinnati lost. And look, that was just a cowardly move by Cincinnati. Maybe Tulsa would have been conference champs within the past 4 years.
He fits well in the Big Ten, I'll tell you that.
Fickle.
That move was very Big Ten, if I may say so. All right, because that Tulsa team with Zaven Collins was pretty good, man.
Well, Michigan, pulled that same trick against Ohio State that same year, and look where it got them. So maybe there's something to skipping out on your hardest opponents
too. So it worked out for everybody, right? There is something to say about that. But where are you at with this program? Because look, I took the under last year because I thought it was Philip Montgomery. I kind of thought shouldn't have got fired in a way, but I did like the Kevin Wilson hire. I just thought it would take time. But I can tell you this. I think he's an underrated football coach, and we're going to make that point in a second here. YouTube.com/The College Experience. But before I do that, I want to say you are listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Sports Gambling Podcast just launched their 32-team NFL preview series. 32 episodes, 32 teams. All right. I know we got that silly ass NFL kickoff that is the most anti-football thing in the history of football, trying to turn this game into fucking soccer. Look, I know it's horrible for the league, but at the same time, there's money to be made in the NFL. And as a bonus, Sports Gambling Podcast not only is giving away their 32 previews, they are including a code word at the end of every episode. So submit the 32 code word phrase at the end, and you could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast and the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. All right, back talking Golden Hurricane football. Patty C, I am a Kevin Wilson fan. He was part of what's that?
Well, what happened at the end of Indiana? He got
he was like what? He was cursing. He was cursing.
Yeah, cursed at players or something.
Yeah, and he was their best coach, and he's the guy that hired Tom Allen, who then had their best years. But if you look at what he did there, buddy, you see the record 26-47, and the lay college football fan thinks, why would they hire this guy? But if you know ball, you're fine because let me just bring it up. That's first off, Indiana has been a fucking doormat before he was there, right?
Yeah.
By the time he's in his third or fourth season, he goes 6-7. All right, gets him to a bowl game. And by the way, his coordinator Kevin Johns was at Duke last year. You might have heard of him, or Seth Luttrell. But you look back at that season, 7-point loss to Ohio State. They were in the Big Ten East, by the way. 7-point loss to 8-point loss to a top 10 Iowa. Double overtime loss to Michigan by 7. 3-point loss to the Duke Blue Devils. My point is, he had this program. If you watched it, you saw the talent. They just looked the part. Indiana looked the part. They were getting into the mix. The very next year, he takes them bowling. Same kind of situation starts happening. 5-point loss here, 5-point loss there. I would say, and 2-point loss to Kyle Whittingham in Utah in the bowl game. This coach is underrated. I think there's a reason why Bob Stoops had him as offensive coordinator after Leach left at Oklahoma, right? There's a reason why Ryan Day had him as, and Urban Meyer had him as offensive coordinator.
What years was he at? What years was he at Ohio State? I got to get that pulled up. It's 17 to 2020.
17, yeah.
2017 to 2022. Yeah. So they went under his time as an offensive coordinator, 12-2, 13-1, 13-1, 7-1 with a national championship appearance, 11-2, 11-2. Granted, it's Ohio State, but they never lost more than 2 games with that guy coordinating the offense. And like you said, his time in Indiana, getting to 2 consecutive bowl games it's not quite Mark Mangino situation at Kansas in terms of how good he is, and they fired him for something so silly, presumably. But at Indiana, getting the consecutive bowl games from where he started with them is a pretty darn big accomplishment, and it's pretty silly that they fired him for something that, on the surface, I don't know the details of it.
Come full circle, it's the Big Ten, all right?
Right. Well,
it's a fucking Big Ten.
Kansas was Big 12. So, maybe it's just the Midwest.
But they're wannabe Big Ten. Kevin Wilson, former North Carolina Tar Heel offensive lineman, played with back when they had, I think, Lawrence Taylor. Yeah, I think he might have played a couple years with Lawrence Taylor there. Obviously, like I said, his coaching stops. And I forgot to put Urban Meyer on there. Also, Sean Payton. Randy Walker, who was very good at Northwestern. His offensive coordinator, Steve Spurrier Jr., the old ball coach. Shit, I got to take off my hat and start complaining. All right. I love it. I met Steve Spurrier Jr. He was a part of Mike Leach's staff at Washington State. Heck of a nice guy. DC is Chris Polizzi. Patty C. And shout out to Lante Smith in the chat, folks. If you haven't checked out Lante, writing a bunch of great college football articles, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. He says, get ready for Coleman to pick Tulsa to win the AAC. I am very bullish. I think they have, we'll get to it, but I am kind of bullish. I think he's a very good coach. And last season, what he inherited was a mess because Montgomery left, and there was at that point, the entire team left. So I look at the 4-8, and he did it with 3 different quarterbacks. Now they got absolutely destroyed by Washington and Oklahoma, but guess what? Washington and Oklahoma combined for 24 wins.
Happens.
Not good to have them on the schedule. But if you look at everything else, 3-point loss to Florida Atlantic. Now, Florida Atlantic wasn't great, but at the same time, I think Florida Atlantic was better than their record. They did get housed by Rice and SMU, but they kept it close. 2-point loss to Tulane. They shouldn't have lost to North Texas, but they did. They did beat my East Carolina Pirates at the Dowdy. Patty C, considering you're using 3 different quarterbacks, and if you haven't paid attention to the recruiting scene, he has been recruiting very good for AAC standards there.
I mean, it almost seems like 4 different quarterbacks because they had 4 guys with more than 30 attempts last year. It's funny because 2 years ago, Bryn Davis was the only guy who attempted a pass the entire year. This year,
Davis Bryn, Davis Bryn, yeah,
Davis Bryn rather. Something was it injury? What happened that caused?
No, he's a brand new quarterback.
Were they doing this?
I think one
it's
of
very
them
Spurrier to rotate quarterbacks like that.
No, he does that in a game. He does that in one game, Steve Spurrier. But we got 4 quarters. I'm gonna give you 4 different quarterbacks. All right.
He probably throw 30 passes with each of them.
You could be Steve Spurrier. I miss him so much in college football because you could have a quarter like Doug Johnson could throw 29 of 30 and he'd be super pissed off about that incompletion.
Yeah.
So you didn't pay attention. You didn't run you didn't throw it where I told you to throw it. Just fantastic. Folks, we're going to talk more about this, but I am bullish. So Lante is correct. I want to tell you though, the College Football Experience is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and we are brought to you, all of us at SGPN, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy just launched their Underdog Streaks. Hit your first 2 pick'em entries, and then you go streaking. If you can go 11-0, then you can win 1,000 times the amount of money you enter. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. They just added another college football contest for best ball as well. What are you doing? All right. College football best ball. We dropped an episode about that. Go check it out. I've been waiting for college football best ball for about 20 years. So check it all out. You can now use specials and boost on all flex entries. So what are you doing? Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I know what you're thinking. You're probably in Oklahoma saying, "What the hell you tell you? What? We don't have an MLB team." But you do. That is where Mickey Mantle is from. If you're in Oklahoma City, make sure you hit the Mickey Mantle Steakhouse. All right. Guarantee you, he plowed some broads, in a couple of those booths. But my point is, this works for anything, any sport. All right. If you're going to a Thunder game, if you're going to to legendary H.A. Chapman Stadium, which if you haven't gone, if you're in Oklahoma and you haven't gone, flag on the play. It's a great stadium. Check out the Stadium Heads podcast for more on that. But anyway, my point is that Game Time, if you're going to any event, it could be the fucking Nutcracker for Christmas. All right. Just what are you doing? Pull out the app, use the Game Time app, download the Game Time app. It's use the promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. It's going to save you $20. Terms apply. Once again, create that account, redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Shout out to Timothy Green. He says, I got family at Tulsa, Oklahoma. Get him out to H.A. Chapman Stadium. They just got like a big donation. I meant to bring that up. Damn it. I meant to do. Patty C, can you Google that? I feel like they just got like a big donation. I feel like
the
at
university
some point,
itself, or
the university or the athletic department, one of the two.
I'm slow, but give me a second.
I know you're slow. They know you're slow. Everybody knows you're slow. All right. I'm fucking with you, buddy.
No secret here. $30 million. It says, University of Tulsa retiring athletic director Rick Dickerson announced.
Well, I don't get.
There you go.
I'm sorry. Continue.
$8 million estate gift from Tom and Betty, which are also my aunt and uncle's names. Johnson on Thursday evening, following an anonymous $30 million donation. Stallone just dropped off a bag of 30 mil.
Tulsa King. I mean, dude, I am convinced Stallone's the richest person on planet Earth.
dude, if you're dropping
You-
off 30 mil anonymous,
You know why he's the
you're
richest
loaded.
person on planet Earth?
Why is that?
Because residuals. And every time I turn on my goddamn TV, I don't say this in a negative with a negative connotation. Rocky or Rambo is on at all times.
That's true.
I was at a place in fucking Colombia, right? I went to a restaurant in Colombia, right? And they had fucking Rambo 3 on TV. All right. Just in the middle of everyone's having, it's like a nice restaurant. In the middle of a nice restaurant, you just got Rambo 3 on, right? My point is that he's always making money and he's shooting in Tulsa, shooting that Tulsa King series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced he's the richest person on planet Earth. He's got to be.
Well,
He's
when you're the
gotta be.
Tulsa King, you get the royalties.
That's what I'm saying. He looks like he's 40.
Yeah, well,
He's like 97 years old. He's
stem
like Sister
cells and
Jean.
steroids. Let's be honest.
He grew up with Sister Jean, all right, who turned 105 today. Anyway, they got a nice donation. Patty C, we do this exercise for all of the group of 5. Best win, Patty C. I got 2 pages of this. By the way, can we talk about that logo's horrible, by the way. I don't like that logo. Where are you at with that logo?
It's something different, you know.
Oh,
it's not a hurricane, it's a tornado, but you know, a little detail. I don't feel like they have any. I feel like the hurricane is the wrong term for a team in Oklahoma. It involves water. Tulsa is completely landlocked, and they have tons of tornadoes.
Well, no, it's called the Golden Hurricane, Patty C.
That's true. That's like
all right.
You get 3 chicks pissing on you at the same time.
Ask Brian Bosworth about that. Patty C wins, and I can't help but note that Tulsa. You know why UCF really left for the Big 12? So they wouldn't play Tulsa. All right, because holy shit, half of these, dude.
Our current Big 12 teams.
Especially UCF though. They just fuck up UCF nonstop. Even when the UCF, guess who ended their win streak? It was UCF, right? Like UCF is just, they're glad they don't play Tulsa. But there's an obvious one. They won at Notre Dame, and that wasn't a bad Notre Dame team. That was a Brian Kelly Notre Dame team that won 8 games. They won at Notre Dame 28-27.
It's a big dub right there.
That's got to be the one, right?
Is there anything else that really stopped me? Beating BYU pretty good, but yeah, nothing.
Houston 56-7 is pretty bold.
That's nice.
Yeah,
but nothing with the clout of a victory over Notre Dame.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about this offensive season that goes. Steve Spurrier Jr. They were 92nd in the nation scoring per game, 23.4 points per game. That was 10th best in the AAC. 65th in yards, 7th best in the AAC. 92nd in passing, 11th best in the AAC. They were 35th in rushing, 4th best in the AAC. So Dundee, how could you be high on them? Well, 4 different quarterbacks, and I took the under last year just for the record, right?
Yeah,
which cashed. But you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. All right.
You're thinking a step forward is on the way here.
Now, what do you think of this logo, Patty C?
Hold on, let me take a peek back.
Pretty fire, right?
I mean, it's a cock diesel tornado there, so yeah, sure.
They got 8 starters back, but the problem is 2 of them are quarterbacks. Old Kirk Francis and Cardell Williams are back. I don't know if that's a problem though, because they have a 3rd quarterback too, and I think these 2 will be backing him up. But they do have 3 quarterbacks that have started a decent amount of games now. Anthony Watkins, if you haven't caught him, he was 3rd team all AAC in rushing last season. Watch out for him because he's a dog. All right,
just about 900 rushing yards. Not amazing yards per attempt, 4.5. And Bill Jackson also coming back as the 2nd leading rusher, also 4.5 yards per attempt. So they're going to have to find a way to get a little more, explosive in the run game.
Braylon Presley Camden Benjamin back at the wideouts, tight end Ethan Hall back as well, and just 2 of 5 off on the offensive line. Well, how could you be that bullish on these guys?
Yeah.
Well,
Camden Benjamin, Presley only 11 catches last year. So for that to be your second leading returning receiver, sad state of affairs. However, Camden Benjamin did have 47 catches for 727 yards. So at least one guy they can rely on throwing the ball to.
Well, they bring in a guy that had about 34 catches a season ago too at UTEP. We'll talk about him, but first they did lose some guys in the portal. Braylon Braxton heads out to Marshall. Thundering Herd are happy with that get. Willie Fritz did get his slimy hands all over this roster though, bringing in Devin Williams and Marquise Shoulders at the wide receiver spot. Shout out to Willie Fritz. And then we saw Nick Rempert there. Go listen to the North Texas preview. That's out. That's a lot of names, Patty C, right?
That is a lot of names. I will say Braylon Braxton, maybe not the biggest loss in terms of quarterback depth. His 50 attempts with 6 interceptions netted him an adjusted yards per attempt of negative 0.4. So it's that's addition by subtraction if there ever was some. But and especially with who they're bringing in at the quarterback position. But aside from that, I mean, a lot of wide receivers. It looks like they've lost. How many is that? 8 wide receivers left in the transfer portal.
Get them out of here! All right, get them out. You're bringing
Is
back
there a
2
second
starters.
page? There's got to be a second page, right?
With
just one offensive lineman
to Marshall.
That's
These
really
Marshall
weird.
Thundering Herd are coming in there.
How do you lose 8 wide receivers but only 1 offensive lineman?
They know what the value. They know what the value, because look what they do, Patty C. Cooper Lagasse, who I interviewed in Vegas a season ago, he was the starting quarterback at Utah State. Very poor man's Steve Young or Mark Brunell or something. I think he's going to be, dude. I think he's going to be very good in this offense. Now, obviously, they have 2 other quarterbacks that started games, so who knows who starts, but I kind of think Lagasse, based on what I've watched in college football, is the best of the 3. Now, he might be the most behind because it is a brand new offense. He did not run the air raid at Tulsa. Well, not that they're full air raid, but they're
at Utah State.
Yeah. What did I say?
At Tulsa.
Okay. But wide receiver Jeremiah Ballard is the one I was referring to. 34 yards a season ago. And that was on a very conservative UTEP minor team. I think he could be a big addition there. And then the offensive line, Caden Stanton started for Jerry Killett. Love that get. Jacob Waller from SMU in their blood money. Love that get. Ender Aguilar from the Cal Golden Bears, Patty C. So Kevin Wells is saying, I don't need all this portal shit. I just need a couple guys.
Let me ask you this. Lagasse improved each season that he's had a chance.
He's good. He's a good college football quarterback.
65% completion percentage last year, 19 touchdowns, 8 picks. So those are good numbers that would translate well. But Cardell Williams last year, only 60% completion percent.
But he got better. That's what I'm saying. I actually think they have a good problem. They have a good problem because they have 3 quarterbacks. I know they say if you got 3, you got none. I think Steve Spurrier actually said that. But I think Lagasse, if
all
they're
of them
smart,
have respectable stats. But I think you're right. Lagasse, certainly from a statistical standpoint, projects best.
When Lagasse came in, he was a backup, and he came in the BYU game 2 years ago when BYU was good. Last year they weren't, and he was nasty. You know what I mean? Like, he has some ad-libbing that he can do. You know who he reminds me of, Patty C? Is Calandria.
Okay.
That's 6'1",
205. That's a stout frame. If he's
but like he's like a kind of a
mobile and
he just kind of mixes and mashes. But I think he can play, and I'm intrigued to see who starts for them after fall camp here. But I think they still won the portal, buddy. Padding that O-line, bringing in a starting wide receiver from UTEP, and potentially your starting quarterback that I think is pretty good.
So maybe a step forward. It's year 2 under Kevin Wilson. I do think that he is traditionally at the helm of a head coaching position shown, or I guess only Indiana. Is that his only head coaching history?
Yes.
So, I mean, what were his records at Indiana? He went 1-11, 4-8, 5-7, 4-8, 6-7, 6-6. So that trend line would definitely be pretty consistently going upwards. If we expect the same thing, especially the offense being his forte, then yeah, maybe. I mean, what were the offensive rankings again last year? They were in like the 20s, 30s, somewhere in there.
No, they were further back. They were in like the Steve Spurrier Jr. like 4 quarterbacks. They were in that fucking 80s, right?
Oh wow.
But I'm in or
Maybe I'm
60s,
thinking of their
70s
defense.
or 80s. Yeah. But I'm encouraged by what they got going. And by the way, this is off topic. I do want to say rest in peace to former Tulsa Golden Hurricane head coach Steve Cragthorpe, who had great success there. Died way too young the other day. But he'd former Louisville head coach. Dude, he's only 59 years old.
Giving him a lot of love. That's tough.
He was a very good football coach. He went 29-22, 3 bowl games in 4 years there at Tulsa, and unfortunately died of Parkinson's. But wishing him the best. Much love to his family and friends. I think this offense is going to be a lot better, Patty C, though. I really do.
Let's hope. I mean, if they were, like you're saying, down 60s, 70s, 80s, if they can take a big step forward, then maybe that results in a few more wins at the very least.
Well, you got to realize like what you're walking into. They walked into a team where everyone left because that's the way things are, right?
Yeah.
They also walked into playing Washington and Oklahoma in your second and third games. Like I said, it was at 24 combined wins, right? Their other losses, SMU was on the schedule, who won the AAC. They also lost at Tulane. Now, if you're looking for the blemish that just doesn't make sense, it's the Charlotte one. But I believe that's Poggi getting better as the season goes along. Rice was a bowl team. The North Texas game was a close game. Probably they shouldn't have lost too. But
Florida Atlantic is not a pretty loss either.
Yeah, but I think that team was better. Like I think if you watched them, like Florida Atlantic should have beat Illinois up the whole game, fumbled that opportunity.
Yeah.
But
it's a similar loss to North Texas. But that one, the North Texas one, was at home. So that's a little less forgivable.
Yeah, losing 42-10 to Rice at home is a bad look, but not really when you're in your first year with all these moving pieces. So
no, that's a bad look. That's a bad look.
Really? I don't think so. That's a bowl team.
I guess Rice has gotten better. You know, it's still losing 42-10 to anyone in your own conference at any point is a bad look.
Really.
But I would say, especially a team with as traditionally terrible as Rice.
Dude, in fucking year 1, Nick Saban lost to ULM. All right, at Alabama.
True.
Shut the fuck up.
And that was a terrible look. We can call it.
I put no water. The case holds no water, Petty C. Daniel saying that they were favored. Well, they should have been favored at that point. They were fresh off of, wins against Temple, Northern Iowa or Northern Illinois, and then a close loss to Florida Atlantic. Yeah. But the defensive side of the ball, Patty C, let's talk about that. But before I do that, I want to tell you the college football experience, Golden Hurricane style. It's brought to you by Rhythm. Football season's here, and college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. That's what's cool. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that. Or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting for you. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists and quants. Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. I like the Yellow Jackets plus 13 there in Dublin against the Seminoles. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Yes, Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. If you don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football season, you got to check out the Ultimate Contest Weekend. It's a great time to go out. You can hang with my friends, Ryan Real Money Kramer and Shad Staggin and Money Green, as well as CJ Sullivan, the Bet Detective, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd to August 24th. Also, use the promo code SGP15 to save you 15% off your hotel room for sign-up weekend there. Also, sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with a proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. All right, we are back on the college football experience. I tend to like this slide the best. I think that look, is the cleanest.
They
Tulsa
do have
Golden
the.
Hurricane.
I mean, I guess they're going for the hurricane. Those flags are the official hurricane flags. You see those all the time on Miami campus. So they at least got it right. They moved off of the tornado, moved toward. I mean, in a sense, a hurricane is just a tornado out in the ocean that's coming on to land, but it doesn't look like a tornado. Anyway, whatever.
I like this. No, please keep talking.
The fuck is that?
Essentially, see what a hurricane is. It's a tornado.
Meteorologist Patty C.
Please keep talking.
You know, a lot of people go to college for 7 years.
Buddy, the defense, 117th in scoring per game, 125th in yards per game, 127th in pass defense, 92nd in rush defense. They were ass.
They were ass. Hot ass.
But none of them were dead last in the AAC, which is almost remarkable in a way.
No. Apparently defense is hard to come by in the American.
Well, 5 starters back, Patty C. Owen Ostrowski is back on the DN. Fucking Ostrowski.
Let me tell you what.
You late for practice again? What's up?
They may have 5 starters back, but they only have one of their top 9 tacklers back. Like, they lost everything on this defense that sucked in the first place. And again,
their whole secondary is back. Their whole secondary, right?
Okay. Yeah. Still, I mean, there's just 7 of the top 18 tacklers back. But again, most of the guys that were responsible for the production last year, with the exception of Dane Hodge, he's the only guy that was in the top 9 of tackles. And then, I don't know, it leaves a lot to be desired.
What about a punter named Angus? Angus Davies, fresh out of Shawnee, Oklahoma, if I had to guess.
You got to trust a punter named Angus.
Patty C, 5 starters. Yeah, that's a little tricky. But what they do in the portal? Oh, okay.
These are losses, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Let's talk about that first. Everett. And once again, Willie Fritz, slimy hands getting in there on Everett Rogers, coming in from the Houston Cougars, or coming in to take him to the Houston Cougars. Jaden Simon, the Simon brothers, Julian Simon and Jaden Simon, they said they're out. All right. They're going to fucking stores. What's that?
Julian Simon was the second leading tackler on the team. 10 tackles for loss. That one hurts.
And their star kicker, Chase Myers, going out to Penn State. Some other losses.
They got rated.
Okay. Well, none of them landed anywhere.
But it's true. Nowhere special.
Anyway, they went out and brought in Miles Jackson from Indiana. Tom Allen is hooking him up. He is going to start for them. Just like that.
This is literally the exact same preview we just did for North Texas. The entire defense gets rated, but none of them landed. It's like no one wants these guys.
Well, Amaya Williams comes in from Alabama State. Linebacker Chris Thompson comes in from USC. He is going to start. Gavin Potter, linebacker from Arkansas State, he is going to start as well. He started at Kansas the year before. Cornerback Champ Lewis coming in from he is not projected to start. And Zion Steptoe from Purdue. I think he has a chance at starting. So, Patty C, you think this defense will be better? Do you think the offense and the defense will be better than a season ago?
Well, here's the thing: is I don't know that the defense can get any worse because they were really bad last year. But it seems like on paper they should be worse. They lost most of their production. They lost a ton in the portal, and they didn't bring in much to help out. I mean, even the Power 5 guys you're talking about, Champ Lewis, the cornerback from TCU, isn't a projected starter. So,
but yet they held the number 10 offense or the number 7 offense to just 35 points.
Just 35.
That was actually one of their better
defensive performances.
No, I'm saying North Texas. That was one of their worst offensive outputs within the conference. So
you can't be bragging about a 35-point difference.
What about holding Tulane to 24 points?
That's respectable, but you said it yourself that they're a ground and pound team that doesn't necessarily light up the scoreboard.
Now, I'm going to make a case now. Yes, SMU won 69-10 against them. Sure.
Dude, they're going to suck defensively again. And
I want to mention that they played Washington's offense and Oklahoma's offense. I think that dilutes the fucking stats.
I do agree with that. And that this year's schedule, let me take a peek
is
again.
Amazing.
Does not have
is
that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that is why your boy Dundee is high on the Golden Hurricane. Let's look at this. The over under at 4.5. But yeah, I just insulting. You're insulting me, Las Vegas. You're fucking insulting me. All right. I took the under last year and I was right. All right. This year, by the way, the over is at -125. So the under's at 105. So Vegas slight lean to 5-7, slightest lean to 5-7. They're plus 5,000 to win the AAC championship. They're plus 5,000 to make the 12-team playoff, and they're plus 50,000 or 500,000 to win the Natty. So Patty C, why would I be so bullish? Because I am bullish on this over. I've already wagered on this over. What are you thinking?
Well, I like your confidence. I will say the first thing that jumps out at me is the Oklahoma State game. I mean, I guess we're not going over the schedule yet, but based on last year, they were what, 5-7 last year? What was their record? Sorry,
4-8,
and they got potentially a little better offensively, and they got even worse defensively without, really after reviewing the roster, but without looking at the schedule. I'm inclined to say they go 4-8 this year. They don't get better, so I'm inclined to take the under.
Well, this is a lock from old Dundee. All right, let's
take a peek at the schedule.
Well, Thursday night, August 29, Northwestern State, the Demons, the Blue Demons, no, Demons, I think, are coming in to H.A. Chapman Stadium. I got them 1-0, Patty C, just like that.
Okay, sure, easy enough.
Then they head to Jonesboro, Arkansas. I got them 2-0, just like that, because Arkansas State is complete ass.
I feel like Butch Jones turned it around there a little bit recently.
True,
right?
but they both played Oklahoma last year.
And what
Arkansas State lost 73-0, whereas Tulsa scored 17 points, lost 66-17.
Okay, I don't think I'm taking that much away from that.
I know, but I do think Tulsa will win this game. I think this is a 50-50 game. I think well, that means nothing to me. They're right next to each other. I mean, how many people are packing? What is it? Centennial Bank Stadium.
Touche. All right, I'll roll with you. We'll say 2-0. Wow. Okay. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but we'll say 2-0.
Well, and don't look at the last couple of times they've played Oklahoma State, by the way, and don't be reminded of Oklahoma State in September, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. Catching them this early.
They are hosting the Cowboys, fresh off of a rivalry game, a renewed rivalry game against Arkansas. But I'll give you this one. The mullet comes into H.A. Chapman and gets it done.
Let's figure that Mike Gundy is still punishing Ollie Gordon and giving him 50 carries a game. That doesn't bode well for Tulsa. I think, I don't know is Oklahoma State going to be motivated by that. I don't think that has that big of an impact on their season, but maybe they're a little more ready than they typically are in September. Either way, Oklahoma State's going into Tulsa and getting this W most likely. So 2-1.
It might be a little chippy. It might be a little chippy.
Sure. I think you can't write it off.
Yeah.
It is Oklahoma State as much of a Super Bowl for Tulsa as Oklahoma is? Probably not, but maybe. No.
Maybe.
I think maybe just because they have a chance at beating them,
They've played them super close the past 3 or 4 times.
Tulsa against Oklahoma State?
Mm-hmm.
What about Tulsa against Oklahoma?
Oh, no. Not true.
See, that's my point.
Yeah.
Maybe they get a little more hyped up for a team to have a chance against.
So, 2-1. You got them 2-1 too?
Sure.
Well, then they play one of the worst teams in college football. This is why I love this schedule. They're going to beat Louisiana Tech because Louisiana Tech's, I think, a bottom 5 team in college football.
Bold statement. Football in the state of Louisiana has been suffering lately. Louisiana Tech 3-9 last year in the Conference USA. Gosh, sure, I'll hand them a win there. 3-1.
Yep, and then they head to Denton, Texas, and I think they beat North Texas.
I'm
I
gonna
got
hand
a
them a loss.
4-1.
I think they're due for
start
a
a
second loss. Bold.
Well, it's going to be even bolder because you're going to cash this by fucking October 5th. They're going to beat Army and go 5-1 to start the fucking season.
God, you sound silly.
Right.
Noah, clip this, and I want this on October 5th. You to clip that. We're going to put this up when Tulsa is 1-5, and we're going to have Colby talking about how Tulsa is headed for a national championship in mid-October.
You laughed at me with the Kansas Jayhawks and Lance Leipold. You laughed at me. Multiple years you laughed at me.
I laughed at you because you were so bullish, but I could at least acknowledge that you had a point. I thought you were a little over the top. You weren't, although did they hit the over last year?
Yes, they did.
What was it? What was the over last year?
Kansas?
Yeah.
They hit the over by like a game and a half. It was like 6.5, right?
And they got to 8?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. All right, so you were right on Kansas,
and they did that without their Heisman Trophy fucking candidate, and that's 3 straight years.
But what about Tulsa? I mean, Kevin Wilson, yes, we talked about has.
I think he's the second best coach in the AAC.
All right. Well, maybe you're right. Getting Army at home is certainly a nice place to get them. So,
well, look, if they lose the Army, because I do think this is the most losable game, more than Arkansas State. Then they have a bye week and they go to the link to play Temple. So worst comes to worst, you cash it on the 19th of October. Right?
Again, I'm not necessarily agreeing. Well, hold on. It's 4.5. I'm
the
saying
worst fucking team in college football.
I gave them 3-1, but I am going to have them 3-3 because I think they lose at North Texas. I think they lose against Army. So you have them 5-1. I have them 3-3. I do think after the bye they come out and beat Temple. So I'll have them 4-3.
I just want you to know, out of their first 7 games, only one team had a winning record last year, and that was Oklahoma State.
Okay, that is a nice stat in Tulsa's favor for sure, but Tulsa was terrible last year, so that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win those games.
They also played a great schedule last year. This is a great schedule in their favor this year. You got to look for that. You know what I mean?
And I do think that, between Philip Montgomery and Kevin Wilson, they've fielded a decent program, even if their record didn't always reflect it. So maybe this is the type of year that they take a step forward. I'm listening. I'm willing to hear what you're saying. I'm just not with them.
They're going to lose on a Thursday night.
6-1 here, where you have them, right?
Well, it's not like they're playing anyone good though.
I have them 4-3. Okay, I'm a little more realistic here, but anyway, I still have them winning most of these games.
Hold on, you want to talk about more realistic? Hold on, I just want to let's have some fun here. I just want to look. I'm gonna sneeze. By the way, I feel like I'm gonna fucking sneeze, but. Talk for a second.
All right. Well, let me talk because you're talking about these shoe-in games. Shoe-in wins, bless you. But they lost at Florida Atlantic last year, 4-8 against Charlotte at home, or Charlotte 3-9.
Well, Charlotte, I'm bullish on too this year.
North Texas, they beat a 2-10 ECU by 2 last year. They fucking beat 5-7. No, they lost to a 5-7 North Texas,
but they're
playing
also
bad teams doesn't mean they're going to win the games.
Well,
last year tells us anything.
They have a 9-game series lead on North Texas. They normally beat the shit out of North Texas.
North Texas sucked forever, but now North Texas got better.
What, by 5-7? Why, one score
win?
Literally
last year? Just talked about them 45 minutes ago.
We could talk about each one of these because I believe La Tech Tulsa smacks around too. But anyway, my point is this, Patty C. They have a Thursday or Friday night there. Friday, I think it is, home to UTSA. It's a nationally televised game. I think they'll lose that game, but I also think if UTSA is sputtering, could be tricky.
Yeah, I think Tulsa's a live dog in that game, but I'll take the Roadrunners.
Me too. I'll take the Roadrunners. That's 2 losses for me. You know,
It's 4-4 in my book. You have them 6-2.
Yep, and then I got them winning at UAB because Trent Dilfer's. Look, this schedule's incredible.
I'll agree with you on that one.
In my opinion, if I had to jot down the 20 worst teams in college football, you would in the FBS, you would see Louisiana Tech, you would see North Texas, you would see Temple, you would see UAB. This is a nice schedule.
The number is 4.5.
Yeah,
I already have them cashing by the 9th game, and then I do think they get 1 out of the last 3. Probably, I don't know who it'll be.
I think
they might get 2 out of the last 3. I
think they beat East Carolina.
Yeah,
it's that far ass road trip. Part of Tulsa's advantage is it's that random road trip in the middle of nowhere. You have to fly into Oklahoma City, get on a bus, drive 2 hours. It's
play football in the desert.
ECU is going to lose that game. I've called it. I know ECU is going to lose that game, right? And I say this as the biggest ECU fan. This is how you know I'm fucking being straightforward with you.
Easily look for the trap game on the calendar, and that's it.
I know that's the one they're going to lose. Because another thing is Wilson's going to be going into year 3 by then. You get to November, they really start to understand what he wants, right? And
what's funny is for a guy who's hyped ECU as thoroughly and vehemently as you have, and saying they're going to rebound from a 2-10 schedule, 2-10 season. They're going to be big threats.
I have them in the AAC championship, or
you have them in the AAC, but you have them losing that game.
Depending on the tiebreaker, I think they're going to be tied with other teams.
What do you have ECU's record at the end of the season?
In conference? They have 2 losses.
Okay, so you think they're one of the premier teams in the American, but you still have this penciled in as a loss?
I think it's a horrible spot. If you've been to Tulsa, Oklahoma, first off, it's low key cold.
Yeah, it can get cold. They get them off of a bye on a Thursday night. ECU,
that's what I'm saying. It's a horrible spot. I like to think we can win this game.
Thursday in a row, so it's not even a bye for ECU.
But that's what I'm just saying. It's that far trip. You get on the fucking bus. I got ECU losing that one. And then Tulsa's got
I'm going to give them.
What's that?
I want to give them. I'm going to jump you here. I'm going to say I'm going to give them 2 of the last 3 myself. I think 6-6 is where I got them finishing. You were going to say they got a great history against South Florida.
Oh, against the Florida schools.
Against Florida schools.
They tend to fuck up the Florida schools. Now, obviously, South Florida, Alex Galesh does have them looking good, but they're also a team that didn't beat a team with a winning record last season. Except with the bowl game, right? No, I don't even think the bowl game. South Florida.
Like Oklahoma and Florida schools have a strange connection, whether that be the old Orange Bowl, I think, which had a Big 8 and 8 Big East or ACC or whatever big SEC tie-in. I always feel like they were playing. Oklahoma was playing down in the Orange Bowl every other year. So
can we talk about the road schedule for a second?
Okay, what do we got?
They only play one winning team from a season ago on the road, and it's a half-empty stadium because it's an NFL stadium, 45 minutes away. Yeah,
that's true. That's a freaking cakewalk road schedule,
buddy. They can make the fucking championship game. I'm not saying they will, but the only flat out loss is UTSA. But that's still on a Friday night at H.A. Chapman. You know what I mean? Wouldn't shock me if they upset UTSA that game. I mean, they probably lose at South Florida too, but you're playing with house money at that point. You know what I mean? 2 losses in AAC championship game.
You're right. It could. And look, if Cooper Lagasse is able to replicate his production, which I think with Kevin Wilson giving him tutelage, that has promising prospects. 65% completion percentage, like we said last year, but also 411 rushing yards or 420 over the last 2 years. So those extra set of wheels could be a factor that makes that offense even more potent.
Definitely. Robert Martin's wondering about the Asterisks. Those are just weeknight games. I'm telling you, I've already bet this. This is hitting. They are not like.
Seems very likely that they hit the.
That's
over.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like okay, maybe I'm wrong. I think you should sprinkle the plus 5,000 for the. And look, hold on. Let me find odds for you to make the game. But I do think in general that the win total lock is just obvious.
Well, let's have an honest top to bottom schedule comparison with last year. Obviously the top game last year was probably what? Washington
played in the national championship.
Okay. And so Oklahoma State, either way, they are
Washington.
Yeah. They're hosting their one Power 5 team on the schedule this year. I mean, and that's an in-state rival that that's their Super Bowl for. Right away, easier there. Then Oklahoma and SMU being on the road.
No, you're basically comparing Oklahoma with UTSA without Frank Harris, right?
Yeah.
And then you're comparing SMU with South Florida, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, I think ECU is probably or Army. You know what I mean? Like one of those two would be
versus Tulane.
Dude,
Tulane on the road last year.
Yeah. And so
that's right. I mean, they have probably 4 teams that were better last year. I mean, who would you take? Last year's Tulane team or this upcoming Oklahoma State team?
I mean, I probably lean Oklahoma State, but they always suck when there's hype, though. But
okay, so we'll say in any event, there's one game that Tulsa is 75% chance or more that they're going to lose this year, which is the Oklahoma State game. But they do get them at the home. And last year, there's probably at least 4 of those games on the roster with Washington, Oklahoma, SMU, and Tulane.
Are you ready for another one?
Yeah,
another prediction. They play at South Florida on November 23rd. I believe South Florida will have already had enough losses to not be in the AAC championship by then. And I believe.
And you think that'll hurt morale?
I believe the Florida Gators or the South Carolina Gamecocks will have interviewed Alex Galesh for their head coaching job. And I think and there's a chance he could already be hired. Like Florida could fire Napier by fucking October, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. When Luke Fickell was in the AAC with Cincinnati, apparently he had pretty much phoned it in for the entire last year of his contract, knowing that he was getting looks from other programs, ended up at Wisconsin. So Galesh, with the projected upside that he has, it does follow that he might be distracted by this point in the season. He'll probably be getting offers,
especially if they're not eligible for the AAC championship by there. Like if they have a third loss and because that's the second to last game of the season, you'll know whether they have a chance or not.
If they're sitting there at like 7-3, he's probably getting looks. And if that offense is going, which with Byron Brown back, you have to expect it will be, he might be gone after this year. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting timing, but November 23rd.
I can't say that about Trailer because it's the middle of the season. But for the Galesh thing, which is to me, it's intriguing because that would be their second loss. Now, obviously, like there's a lot of 50-50 games in here, but I honestly believe their roster is better than a good chunk of these AAC teams. I think they're better than UAB. I think they're better than Temple. I think they're better than North Texas from a coach when you mix coach and roster. And I think they'll catch ECU sleeping, right? And I actually think their roster is on par, if not better than on par with Florida Atlantic's. And the fact that Florida Atlantic, that's what I'm saying. If Florida school goes to Tulsa you know how cold, like it's a low key colder place than people think.
Yeah.
So
missing Tulane, missing Memphis. I mean, they do get UTSA,
even missing Rice.
But they get him at
Rice
home.
is going to be a bowl team this year. Yeah. So, you're missing Rice. Who else are they missing?
They get Army at home. I think
Charlotte, Biff Poggi, who I have in a bowl. right?
Who did Charlotte beat them last year?
Yes, they did.
So that's a helpful game to avoid, I guess. Look, I'm not as bullish as you, but I do agree that this schedule is phenomenal. I think based on that alone, I have them going bowling 6-6, which smashes the over.
Could they go 10-2? Would you be shocked if they went 10-2?
I would be shocked if they went 10-2. You can't have a defense that terrible as it was last year and on paper getting worse and somehow come out 10-2. That would
So
be
what's your ceiling for them?
8-4.
Okay. And what's your floor?
I think the floor is pretty high. I think like 4 or 5. I mean, I think Vegas is lowballing them. So I think it's a pretty safe bet to hit the over. I think 4 is probably the absolute floor there. But I think it's like a 75% chance they hit the over. So almost lockworthy just based on the schedule.
No, is lockworthy. It's on my locks. And I don't want to speak for NC Nick, but I believe it's on his too. We discussed briefly that we like their value to, I think it's worth sprinkling the AAC championship. I mean, the odds are so crazy.
I agree.
Oh, and I was pulling that up. You can look, I got sidetracked. You can find to make the game over like DK. Some places have it to make the title game. The AAC Tulsa would be plus 1,800. Unbelievable with that schedule. Now, like I said, you're probably not even going to go, but I'm just saying, like, I honestly think they should be favored. I think they're better than North Texas. I think they're better than Temple. I think they're better than UAB. And I think they're better than Florida Atlantic at home on November 30th. Right now, ECU's roster's better, but ECU, this is that far ass road trip, dude. This is the game that just like, what? It's like Creighton in the Big East in college basketball. You know what I mean? It's like, wait, where are we going? Right? We got to fly into this and then go there. Right.
Ends up being a little bit of awareness.
I mean, I think they're definitely better than UAB. And then, like, to me, there's 4 teams that I think Army will be a bowl team. I think UTSA will be a bowl team. I think ECU will be a bowl team. And I think South Florida will be a bowl team. Right? Those are 4 of them.
Yeah.
Where you get South Florida, I've already made my point. Galesh could be gone. Right? Yeah. It's also an NFL stadium that's half empty all the time. Right?
A little something to consider that might push you over the edge to make the bet.
And then ECU, I feel like just the game at Tulsa, they always struggle with. First off, ECU's it's a primetime game, nationally televised. Same with UTSA. Army's really the only one that's like on a normal Saturday. But dude, this is one of the best schedules in all of college football.
It is, because they could even pull the upset on Oklahoma State. Again, Oklahoma State in September, especially against Group of 5 competition.
Especially against Tulsa. Like the past 3 games against Tulsa have been like within 7 or 10 points.
Yeah. I don't think there's that much, for whatever reason, that separates those 2 programs on game day. Tom Wilson, or Kevin Wilson rather, in 2015, his second to last season at Indiana, had them at the number 14 offense in the nation, yards per game. Now they did regress to number 56 his final year there, but to get that offense to that level, I don't know that they're going to be there this season. But if they were in the 60s or 70s offensively last season, and they were that bad defensively, if he can even just get the offense to improve, a considerable amount, even if the defense doesn't step forward, then yeah, I think, especially considering the schedule, this is lockworthy. So it's a good play, and the conference championship play too. What are the odds on that conference championship bid?
Just to make it plus 1,800 to make the championship game plus 1,800. Good value. It's worth the sprinkle, because you're probably going to get waxed if you play, at Tulane in the AAC championship game. But I'm just saying, I think the championship game will have a 2-loss team in it, maybe even a 3. Right?
Yeah, it's not crazy to think that.
So my point is like Patty C, I'd be curious within the conference, which games do you actually have them as dogs?
As dogs, I have them. Like I said, I don't know if Vegas will have them as dogs in these games, but the games I have them losing are at North Texas against Army.
But okay, but that's different than like you have that. But I'm saying like,
who do I think? What games do I think Vegas will have them as dogs?
Yeah, yeah.
Potentially hosting Army, depending on what Army's record. But preseason, I think that's kind of like a push. At North Texas at this point, I think North Texas will be a slight favorite at home.
I don't know about that.
I could be wrong there.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
yeah.
It's pretty close there too. I think the home game against UTSA, they'll be dogs in.
Agreed.
And then probably slight dogs at South Florida. So it's not many.
I think
games.
ECU might be a favorite, but they're going to be live dogs in that game.
They might be. Yeah. I mean, they a preseason though, right now, I don't think so. You know, I think they had such a terrible year last year that Vegas.
No, but the odds are telling you. I mean, if you look at the AAC odds to win the conference
Vegas
winner,
already has ECU pretty high.
Dude, it goes like this. It goes, I mean, they're this Memphis 1, Tulane 2, UTSA 3, South Florida 4, and then Rice and ECU tied at 5th.
Okay. Yeah, I expect ECU to be a lot better than they were last year. So I could see them being dogs in that game, even at home, and even despite ECU's struggles last year. So maybe that game too. But even still, that's what, three conference games?
My point is if it went chalk, 3 still might get you in, but I think it's going to be 2. So all you got to do is win one upset and not lose to the other, teams. It's good value, man.
Chance.
Yeah. I've told you already about this. This is a lock, so I will play that music. Patty C on the over as well. Come on, the old ball coach's son.
I would like it. I would love it. Throw it as a double lock. Throw it as a double lock.
There we go. Double lock. Shout out to Michael Fincher. When are the Conference USA episodes? We're going to do Sunbelt next. And then after that, I'm probably going to go mash in MAC and CUSA at the same time because I want to get Liberty probably out there first. And then some of the MAC schools. So kind of a mix of a little bit Jacksonville State also. But all of them will be done before week 1. So you'll have that. YouTube.com/The College Experience. Subscribe. Tell a friend. We've been doing this shit for years, previewing every damn team. Don't act like it's the first time. All right. Get on over there, though. Give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And let's go. Tulsa. Let's bring the basketball program back, man. I remember when Bill Self was coaching there. Had fucking Eric Coley making the Elite Eight one year. Check out the College Basketball Experience. We talk college hoops year round over there. Also the College Baseball Experience. And obviously the FCS College Football Experience. If you want to deep dive on Northwestern State. And the regular college experience, the college football experience. All of those come together as one. YouTube.com/The College Experience. Don't forget about the Stadium Heads podcast. H.A. Chapman Stadium. We give it its flowers. All right. Patty C. Part of what makes college football great is you can play when Tulsa when Cooper Lagasse or Braylon Presley puts those cleats on and goes out, puts those shoulder pads on. He's playing in the same place that Steve Largent caught touchdowns.
Oh.
He's playing in the same place that, if you really look at the away teams too, that Barry Sanders ran wild against them. That shit has stories, man.
That Gus Farrat dominated in. When I was in middle school, I caught endless comparisons to Gus Farrat.
With
probably pretty accurate.
Yes, it was very, very accurate. And but my point is dude, that's what's great about college football is the whole history is there. Fucking Bill Parcells has coached games against, at H.A. Chapman Stadium or whoever. You can look it up. Tom Landry. You know what I mean? Like you were in the same college football hangs on to that. There's still soul. You watch the NFL, it's like going to a fucking shopping mall. How was the Best Buy in fucking Bloomingdale's? All right. That's an NFL game. All right. Check out the Stadium Heads podcast where we talk about what makes college football great and why we talk the history of the college football stadiums and why it's the greatest thing, greatest version of football on planet Earth. All right. And the same can be said about Boone Pickett Stadium. The same can be said about Oklahoma Memorial there in Norman. All 3 of those stadiums are absolute fire. Don't fuck it up. Don't ever fuck it up.
Amen.
Yeah. Check out the Stadium Heads podcast. Till next time, folks, we're both on the over with the Golden Hurricane. Let's go. This is the college football experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the cameras. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know